And welcome here to EGL Live. I'm at SmellyMoss on Twitter. Joining me, of course, at Mellow Live, Chris Marsh. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I'm doing really, really well. Hopefully we'll be able to do these EGL Live kind of informal chat sessions live on Twitch a lot more. So hopefully this is the start of something big. We're going to hit it off right away with EGL 5. Of course, it happened in Blackpool a few weeks ago. And first off, let's talk about the winners. Of course, you had Apex NA, Apex Straight Rippin', and Apex Afterlife all walking away with titles. And then, of course, Roughnecks on Call of Duty and the PS3. So Roughnecks, the only team to be able to kind of ruin the Apex
Dream.
Clean
sweep, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I mean, Apex were in PS3 before, but they pulled out of it not long before the event, following the last Reflex event that was PS3. So yeah, they could have really gone for a clean sweep. But there was a number of teams that could have taken it on the other games, I guess. Like the final for Gears was quite close. Obviously, Imperial making a good comeback there. Halo was contested between the two Apex teams. It was a complete Apex clean sweep of 1 and 2. And then, of course, the Apex Call of Duty team fell a bit short. In the end, the final was a bit of a one-way street, so to speak. And Western Wolves looked, they were a lot better than the rest of the competition, but they were still out of the depth against Apex NA. And of course, like even before the game, the guys were just kind of like turning around and like, there's almost no point in us playing this because it's just we're going to lose. And I don't think mentality came into it. They were just too good for them when it came down to it.
And they knew it when they walked up on the main stage.
Yeah. We should have had some like rocky music or something as they were going up there, try and spur them on to become giant killers. But in the end, it didn't matter, and it was a decent final regardless. But yeah, they were just a shade more class when it came down to it.
Of course, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of chat on Deserto, and I guess on Halo Forum for both titles was that it was a real wake-up call for both games, that the American teams are that much further ahead. Halo, obviously, we've known this for quite a while because of MLG and just how established that is. And we see the likes of the Bucks going over there, MVP and Fusion. They've all done fairly well over there, but they've never been able to make it into that upper echelon of teams. So the Americans, the huge advantage. We had the XP event with Call of Duty. That went actually significantly well for the European teams, but at the end of the day, a lot of the members of this Apex lineup walked away with that. So
yeah. Go on, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, let's just talk about the tournament highlights first of all. Of course, the big thing, the attendance, 113 Call of Duty teams, pretty awesome.
It was, before it, we were kind of expecting, at one point we were thinking 80 teams, then we thought maybe 96 at a push, and that would be insane. And, we weren't even sure how we'd handle 96 teams. And then, when we were taking registration, Alex turned to me and was like, that was the 99 team that just signed up, and we weren't even out of the pre-registration on Friday. So we kind of looked at each other and were like, yeah, we're going to need a miracle here. So we started kind of trying to work out new strategy on how we were going to somehow pull out the bag with that number of teams and just reworking the schedule. And despite seemingly everything going wrong, it somehow finished. And at the end, there was a real sense of almost accomplishment, between me and the other admin for Call of Duty particularly, in that we just kind of couldn't believe that we'd somehow pulled it off and got it finished. So that was a great achievement in itself, I think.
It was miraculous. And I think what's absolutely amazing is the fact there was some internet issues on the Sunday, which kind of drove the tournament back by maybe 2 or 3 hours. If those issues didn't happen, the event actually would have finished pretty much on time. So 2 days, 113 teams. I think a lot of credit goes to yourself and, of course, Alex McBride and the other Call of Duty admins.
All the refs and admins at the event did, put in a great shift. And, Alex is one of the group that just, worked tirelessly all weekend. And to be fair, there was one person in particular said that you shouldn't be admin at the next event, and just single-handedly blaming him for the internet issues that he had no control over and stuff. So it's like, I think people like Alex are forever going to be, have to settle for not really getting the respect and like people being grateful enough for what the services they put in. But at the same time, Alex isn't one of those people who is kind of craving that community attention and for people to say, pat him on the back and go, well done, Alex, and like cheer his, chant his name in the main hall. That's not what he's about, really. He just wants to do his bit for the community. And at the end of the day, he left that weekend knowing that he'd achieved something good.
I mean, I guess really, there's always going to be haters. No matter what you do, especially in the community, gaming community, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of douchebags. Let's be honest. The majority of douchebags don't show up at the LAN events, which is pretty funny. And then they hate on people. You look at the amount of abuse that some of the kind of characters of the Deserto community who put themselves up on YouTube and so on. The amount of hassle and grief they get for doing that. These guys are putting themselves out there. They deserve a lot of respect for that. And to see some of the way that people treat them and some of the abuse and just ridiculousness that they have to go through, it's just really, really sad. And at the end of the day, those people are pathetic.
Is that Mike's rant?
Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
That's the end of today's episode of it.
Some of the other things, the attendance, the fact that we actually got through the Call of Duty tournament was a miracle. Now, you and I both have differing opinions on Blackpool. I love it. Michael Kent, a.k.a. Emo, and I, on the Sunday night post-event, we were outside having a chat and a cigarette, and he kind of said, you know what, this is the home of EGL. And, Blackpool, as rough as it can be as a venue, and, it kind of looks like a dance hall from World War II. It's pretty awesome. You've got the hotel. It's part of the complex. The bar area is not that bad at night once they've wheeled away the old people.
Of which there is a lot. Like I said, it's not that I dislike it. I mean, a lot of people, the amount of people who contact me on Skype and stuff every day and say, oh, hold the next EGL, in Lanzarote, or like hold it next to the house. I don't know why I said Lanzarote then, but they always want it in their town or in their village or in their city. Do you know what I mean? Like hold it in Skipton. It's like, why? Oh, I live there, and it's just like they don't want to travel. And for me, Blackpool's dead convenient. It's just one train and get it from down the road straight there. But that doesn't really factor in for me. So I guess with the travel aspect, that's probably a downside for most people. But other than that, yeah, you just cater for everything, and it's affordable. You can choose to have convenience to stay in the hotel itself. You can stay in a guest house for next to nothing. So there's a lot of options available to you and stuff. And obviously the hall is good for what it is. It's big, caters for everyone. At no point at the last event were we like, whoa, it's cramped in here. There's a couple of times where there was a bit of overspill on the popular games, but what can you do?
Well, there's a bit more space to be had in that venue too. So hopefully, if we do return there, then we'll be able to utilize that. Let's talk about some of the issues. One more thing I'm going to mention is the streaming numbers for like the total streaming numbers over the 5 streams over the course of the 2 days. We had about 100,000 people over the 2 days. That's unique viewers, just over 500,000 views, which is important to us because that's how many ads play. So that's obviously pretty spectacular. It's doubling at each event, almost like the attendance.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that more people are tuning at home. Obviously, as it gains notoriety, the thing is a lot more people are attending, so you'd assume that would have a knock-on effect to the figures himself in viewing. But, more people are taking an interest in gaming, and it's becoming more mainstream, I guess. More people obviously offer a link to the kind of the casual community, like, people like Relchi. There's somebody out the window, isn't there? Yeah.
They just want Loco and Mike.
Yeah, I'll rotate it slightly. There we go. Awesome. No one can see them anymore. Yeah, so people like Rel and Gucci, they obviously offer a link to the kind of casual YouTube community and stuff. So more and more people gets the word out that way and stuff like that. So what are they actually doing? This has gone from good to not serious now, isn't it?
Out now.
I keep hearing them giggling, and I saw them earlier on, like dead early into it, and I thought, sure, they're not going to go back outside, but they definitely did.
They probably think they're still on though, so they're out there doing things that we can't actually see.
Yeah.
I guess kind of final bits of the positive side is kind of Caliber 11 THQ with UFC Undisputed 3, Doritos, and the coverage from Deserto, Halo Forum, and EU Esports all deserve a big shout out. But then also we've got the lows and the improvements that we need to make for the next event. Of course, the standout issue, which only affected Call of Duty because the game doesn't support LAN was the internet connection.
Yeah. I mean, that was, in many ways, that was completely out of our control. And I think it was good that, like, a lot of the top players kind of, there was a few times when it was going wrong and, people getting down, but they weren't really getting down on us, which we kind of appreciated. There was, like, I mean, I remember one of the games that was going on was the Western Wolves game, and, like, you could see Toby and Mac and that were getting frustrated, but they were kind of like, they accepted it wasn't really our fault and we were working hard to fix it, which is good, because the amount of times in the past where, like, people can easily turn around and just go, what the hell are you doing? This is an awful event. But, we were doing what we could at that time, and really, like, it was completely out of our control.
The streaming, obviously, because the internet was going up and down, that hurt us, obviously, from a numbers perspective. If we could have content the entire time, we would have. But we just the stream ultimately is the first thing that gets booted once we know that there's an internet connection. We had how many? 18 stations? No.
More than that, yeah, far more than that. There was like
connected
I don't know.
To the internet though.
Oh, well, technically all of them are, but obviously there's all the ones for Call of Duty, which I think was 16 in the end, and then the extra 4 for Call of Duty PS3, so 20.
So
20 plus the main stage,
stations.
So 21. 21.
Of course, so 21 stations connected to the internet, games going on simultaneously. I think we were pushing about 35 megabits up when we were at our kind of peak, and the connection in that building is 50 meg. So we were getting pretty close to the cap. So, and then we also had 5 streams, most of those streams running at about 1.5 meg. So it's quite a lot of, we're at our bandwidth limits there. So we're going to have to look into something for the next event.
Yeah, I think they actually have the potential to increase it, to be honest. So I think that's something we can look into as well. I think we only got 50 megabytes. That's what we thought we needed, 50 megabytes. But I think there was an option to extend it to 100, so I don't think that's an issue in itself.
And another side of the stream, as I mentioned, is ad blocking. A lot of people use ad blockers. You're probably watching this on Twitch. A lot of you use ad blockers. Sakro, who's in the chat room, I know, he's a big proponent for those. At the end of the day, that's part of our livelihood for the company. We need to make revenue off of the ads. So if you use ad blockers, and think about this for all content, really, it's kind of too bad if you're doing that. Shame on you. But I guess it's your choice. I'm just kind of personally a bit pissed off about it. I've always been pissed off.
You're always pissed off, though. That's the deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Might have been pissed off permanently. But sometimes you need it. Like I was looking through Ryanair flights earlier, and every time you select a destination, it comes up with a pop-up. And then when you click go, it comes up with a pop-up. So Ryanair truly milking that. So
That's
I
a
don't
pop-up,
really think...
though. It's different.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's not like... Yeah, it's not just like
pop-up blocker is fine. Do whatever you want with that.
So pop-up blocker, yes. Advert blocker, down. Is that what we're saying?
Exactly.
Oh,
done.
Okay.
Of course, the late ending wasn't in our control because of the internet connection. It'd be nice to finish an event on time. One day it will happen. And, of course, the grand finals kind of clashing towards the end. The Halo guys were done fairly, or they actually were done pretty early, but there was the Gears of War final and the Halo final were going to clash. They did in the end, so we couldn't get Halo up on the main stage. Combine that with the fact that Halo is ridiculously hard to stream because of the 8 Xboxes having to be connected. But Roy, of course, did a great job of getting most of the point of views for those games. And, of course, it was an epic final with Apex straight ripping, walking away with that title. The garbage was an issue. That was mentioned quite frequently.
It looked like a bomb had gone off, basically, which wasn't really a good look for the venue. If you were coming in as a spectator and it had already got messy, then it was, you would have thought, what on earth's going on here? Like, yeah, it had been a garbage fight, basically. I was expecting seagulls to start landing in the venue, but thankfully that was yet to happen. So hopefully that's something we can tackle at the next event. I don't think it's a case of no food and drink allowed in, because obviously a lot of people want to drink in there. It's nice having the bar open, even though it doesn't serve alcoholic drinks, just to get, like, quite often if I was thirsty, I'd just get like a pint of water and, be on my way. So it's just no messing about with that. So I think it's just a case of more bins, bigger bins, maybe doing trash collection a couple of times during the day. I don't know what I'm saying, rubbish collection during the day, just to make sure that the venue stays clean. The only thing I would say is, quite a lot of people were just happy to just leave their drinks half full on tables and stuff like that, and it easily gets knocked over and stuff. And, it's a big risk, both in terms of damage of our equipment and, potential electrocutions or something like that. We don't want to have a power outage because somebody's foolishly left the drink over and it's been spilt onto an Xbox and caused, some sort of, like, diffuse the switch or whatever. So
it goes both ways. We need to do more in order to get the trash out of the building, but obviously the players should be doing their part at the same time. Like that was pretty exceptionally messy.
Yeah. I'm not sure if people were just bringing in boxes from bins outside to add to the rubbish in
bringing
the
in bins and just throwing them on the floor.
Exactly, yeah. So,
of course, there were some staging issues with the projection and so on. I am to blame for that. I'll be honest. But that was a one-off. As you guys know, the last couple of events, the staging has been a lot better than it was this event. So we'll have it back at that level, no problem, for the next event. And I guess kind of at the end of it, 113 teams means that not everyone gets to have as many games as they probably want.
yeah, I think that's an understatement. I mean, when we announced the amateur bracket, it was pandemonium, and like obviously that was slightly delayed because we needed to make sure the main tournament was out of the way, which ultimately is what everyone's paid for. And then as soon as I announced the amateur tournament, there was literally such a rush that the people who got to the admin station first were actually like squashed against it. So that like kind of sums up. If anyone's watching that on mute, they're going to be thinking, "What is he doing?" But yeah, that kind of sums up like how popular that was, even though we had to do it in quite a simplified format. So yeah, we really want to look at increasing the value for money ultimately. So tournaments like that obviously go a long way. There's a replay area which is good, but in the next year, well, in the next a few events or in the next years or so, we really want to be pushing the boat out and firstly focusing on getting more exhibitors there, so there's more stands to visit. You can maybe buy games there, buy hardware there. Because I know a lot of people, you play on the EGL monitor, you want to buy the EGL monitor. You maybe you see somebody using a headset, you think I might buy the headset myself. I might only have an Xbox Live headset, something like that. Stuff like that, arcade machines to go and stuff like that. So really, we want to kind of increase that kind of aspect of the event. And at the same time, we also want to increase the communication between tournaments. So if you're a Call of Duty fan who's got an interest in Halo, but perhaps doesn't know the scene as well as others, at the moment, maybe you would go over to the Halo section and think, I don't know who's playing here. Really, we want to have screens up that say, like, upcoming fixtures, say Apex straight ripping versus, whoever on one screen, and then like results on another screen, and then you might know who's playing where at the moment and stuff, who's live. So that's the kind of thing that we want to be bringing to the events in the future.
There's lots of issues, but at the end of the day, not issues. There's lots of plans that we want to do, and each event we always kind of have a grand idea of what we want it to look like, but then budget comes into effect, which quickly crushes our hopes and dreams. But yeah, we are. I think hopefully it is obvious that we're trying to improve things. The last event was kind of a weird one with setup. We didn't. The way the setup worked wasn't really in our favor because of, you guys were off gallivanting in Spain.
I knew you were going to say gallivanting. What do you mind just frolicking through Spain? Skipping through the streets? I was doing hard time, as we all know.
You and Glenn with you holding hands, and Dan holding hands, skipping down the street.
It was anything but that, but so obviously there was that aspect of things. The guy who runs the store cupboard was actually painting the store cupboard on the day that we were meant to go down. So that meant that we couldn't actually go and double check the stock, which kind of put us in a tough position. So we had to rely on other people to bring the right stuff. And then by the time we actually got to Blackpool, that was all Thursday gone. So we just had all Friday to do it. A few things got omitted. We still have to fix some stuff, like stage signing wasn't, not stage signing, the station signs weren't very good still. So we need to sort that out soon. But we'll get there with those kind of things. It's just little tweaks like that. Obviously that'll be a good addition, but just having the time and the resources to make sure that we put them in place.
Well, there's one thing that was interesting. We were talking about exhibitors and so on. It was Straight Rippin' Strong Side had a blog post which had photos and stuff just kind of documenting the Straight Rippin' UK experience and kind of what they did with you guys afterwards at Loco's house.
I went there for that, sadly.
You were back at home.
No, I had to go work in London, didn't I? Oh, no, I had to go work
of course, yeah. Well, you ran home and then you came down to London. But yeah, it was interesting to see their kind of experience. So I'd recommend you guys actually check that out on Strongside's blog. I believe it was Strongside.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Now we'll move on, but we're going to take a break first. Coming up, when we return, I've actually closed the document, which had all this stuff on it. Yeah, you know what we're going to talk about. I know I can remember now. Is we're going to talk about prize money and games administration. So that's going to be coming up. Stick with us here. You can follow us at EGL Pro on Twitter or either Mellow Live or SmellyMoss. So stick around. We'll be right back.